Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys how to drift. A lot of people have been asking me, since I've been doing so many drift videos on these low grips, a lot of people are asking me how I drift, and yeah, I'm going to show you a full tutorial of how I learned to drift and make it as detailed as possible with the controller display as well. The controller buttons are basically in the same place for Xbox as well, so it does show a PS5 controller, but you can press the same buttons for Xbox as well. I don't normally do this in the intro, but please subscribe if you haven't already. A lot of people that have been watching my recent videos are not subscribed, so I would appreciate if you do. Thank you. Dumping the clutch is what a lot of professional drifters use nowadays, and this segment I'm going to show you how to dump your clutch. Okay, dumping your clutch. A very useful tip. If you don't know already how to do this, it's very simple. If you already do know how to do this, you can skip this part because this is what we're going to be focusing on. Now, why would we want to dump the clutch? Well, this is very useful for carrying on a drift. So if you're drifting and you want to just carry on, you can dump the clutch just like I did there, and it will carry on the drift. And it's very useful for situations where you want to keep sliding and not straighten up, and it's very vital for doing long drifts. Now, to do this, you will have to be in second gear or speeds from 20 to 30 to 40 miles an hour. So you can just guesstimate that with your rolling speed, so like pedestrian speed, and then you want to tap handbrake and accelerate. As you can see by the tire marks on the floor, I am doing this correctly. I do it twice in this one clip. So here's an example of me using this. So I'm accelerating, and then I'm going to tap the handbrake, and then it's going to wheel spin even more. And it's going to lose grip. It's going to wheel spin. It'll make your car faster as well. If you've never done this before, then you won't know that it makes your car faster. This is going to be very vital later on in the video. So you just want to make sure you keep practicing this. Acceleration, second gear, tap handbrake, and then accelerate again. And you see how fast I do it on my controller on screen. And you don't have to be super fast. You don't have to like panic or anything. Doing it at a moderate pace will work. Okay, so now we know how to dump the clutch. So how do we incorporate that into a drift? So as you saw, dumping the clutch makes your wheels just spin up. So once your wheels spin up, we want to try and counter steer it. Now, I recommend highly that we go around in circles first. We try this in circles. It's the best way of learning. It's the way I learned, and it just made drifting easy from that point. So as soon as you see me dump the clutch, so you'll see me dump the clutch, I'm slowly going around. I'm going around, I don't know, 20 miles an hour. And then I'm going to dump the clutch, and as soon as I do it, I'm going to counter steer. You'll see that on the screen. So dump the clutch and counter steer. And then I'm just going to keep dumping the clutch when I feel like my car needs to dump the clutch. So as you can see, I'm doing it very rapidly. I'm doing it one after another, one after another. You can just feel the car, feel like when you need to spin. And yeah, this is what we're going to learn. You don't need to get it perfectly round like me. You don't need to go all the way around. Just learn to counter steer. So if you can dump the clutch and then counter steer, dump the clutch again, counter steer, then yeah, you definitely are going to be a really good drifter. Because once you can do two, you can do infinite. You can dump the clutch, keep spinning, go all the way around until, you know, your fingers get tired. You can do this forever. And then this really helps when you're on the streets of Los Santos. So I'm just going to show you how to do it on the streets. It's exactly what we just did. So you want to turn left here. And what we did in the circle, we're just going to do it here. So we're going to turn, counter steer, keep dumping the clutch, and as you can see, you made it. Now I am going to lower this now so I get longer versions of what I just did if you decide to lower your car. So now that we are lowered, it does seem like drifting around this is a lot more smoother. The wheels are spinning a lot more freely, they're not gripping up as much, and you can do some nice smooth circles. And yeah, it's your choice. Again, it's your choice if you want to lower your car. I'll do the same thing what I did on the streets to just teach you how to do this lowered as well. Okay, so now we know how to drift a corner by dumping the clutch. But how, if we go a bit early, if we're a bit too early, how do we carry on drifting? I might dump the clutch around this corner, but I might grip up around here. But I want to carry on drifting. So how do I do that? Well, it's very simple actually. All you need to do for this is when you dump the clutch and you want to carry on, you just tap handbrake. So you're tapping the handbrake. As you can see on the controller, what I'm doing is I'm dumping the clutch and I want to carry on the drift. I tap handbrake, and it's almost like it's in increments of certain seconds. So let's say if the corner's not even long enough to dump the clutch and we just want to drift around here, we're just going to do that concept of tapping the handbrake. So we drive, I'm going to tap the handbrake, and as you can see, it's nearly in perfect increments of like 0.5 seconds, as I said earlier, and it makes for a very, very easy drift car. Now let's say I want to turn left at high speed here, but you know, I really want to slow down, so I just yank the handbrake, and then I'm going to use the tapping incorporation, where there has to be a car there. I use the tapping incorporation to kind of turn into that corner. And holding the handbrake is a very good tool in this game. Like, if I'm going too fast here, I can just hold the handbrake, turn left, and then I can just tap, tap, tap on the handbrake, and you can see it makes it look like I did a smooth drift. So now at the end of it, we've learned to dump the clutch. So we can just dump the clutch around long corners. We've learned how to tap the handbrake. So if we go into this car park here, I can just tap the handbrake, turning to these corners. And we've also learned to put the yank on the handbrake. So yank on the handbrake, and we can do nearly a U-turn here, and then tap, tap on the handbrake. But what about all-wheel drive cars? Okay, drifting an all-wheel drive vehicle. Literally, the tutorial is so quick because it is so easy. Within 5 minutes of practicing, 90% of people, I think, will be able to drift an all-wheel drive vehicle on low grips. So all you need to do for this is very similar to the tapping method that I told you earlier. So all I'm doing is turning in and tapping. The different thing about all-wheel drive vehicles are sometimes you don't counter steer, and sometimes you just turn into the object. So I'm turning into the pole here, and then I'm counter steering a bit, and then turning into the pole. So I'm tapping on the handbrake, turning in, and that's just how you turn in more than you actually counter steer. But you still do counter steer, but you turn in more than you counter steer. So I'm turning towards the pole most of the time, and then I'm counter steering some of the time. And this makes for a very easy drift car because you hardly spin out. So if I'm tapping, I'm counter steering there, I hardly ever spin out. So here I'll just commentate this, live commentate this, and as you can see, I'll probably not crash because it's so simple. You can get the momentum of these all-wheel drive cars, and it's just a very predictable car to kind of drift. You can use nearly anything. You can use the Elegy Retro if you want. They are all very good drift cars. But yeah, it's just, if you want to not go through all the hassle of doing the rear wheel drive car and then all the steps between it, you can just get an all-wheel drive vehicle and do it this way. But I do recommend taking all the steps previously, because you will learn how to drift, and it's a one-off thing. Once you've learned how to drift, you don't need to do anything else. You will remember it. You will get very fluent at double clutching, and yeah, this is just for people who, you know, can't be bothered really. So how to lower your car, I'm going to keep this short and simple because I've mentioned it many times in the past. So you can use any weapon for this. Of course, we have low grip tires, so it doesn't work on bulletproof tires, but it does work on low grip tires, so you should be fine. You want to either shoot here, so in the gap of the arch, or in the bottom of the wheel, and I always shoot here in the arch because it works on every car. In the middle of the wheel, it works on around 40% of the cars, mainly the cars that came out with GTA 5. But I use a marksman sniper because it's silenced and it's accurate as well. You can just shoot. So you want to make sure it drops twice on all 4 wheels. Once it's dropped twice on all 4 wheels, you're ready. It's lowered.